Hello and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. Could public money be used to keep Doncaster Sheffield Airport open? We'll bring you the latest on the plans revealed in the last hour. Searches and a second arrest over the murder of a 15-year-old boy outside a school in Huddersfield. We'll put your questions to an expert and hear how the Chancellor's huge tax cuts affect people in our region.
They need to help the ones that haven't got the money and help them to get more, and wait until April's no good. What about Christmas and everything in between?
It's a beautiful day for a balloon ride. York's annual balloon fiesta is in full swing. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We start with some breaking news. We've learnt this evening that politicians have submitted a plan to use public money to keep Doncaster Sheffield Airport open until the end of next year. The airport owners announced in July that it may no longer be a viable business. They're considering this new plan with hundreds of jobs at risk. Here's our business correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
For how long will planes continue to land at Doncaster Sheffield Airport? Owners Peel Group announced in July that aviation activity at the site may no longer be commercially viable. Closure after 17 years, a distinct possibility. But within the last hour, South Yorkshire's Mayor has presented Peel with a financial package that would keep the airport open into next year.
It's a significant offer, and it should mean that Peel then keep on working with us to find a credible, ambitious operator for Doncaster Sheffield Airport. This is South Yorkshire's airport. This is about the economic future of the whole of South Yorkshire. So this is about all of us coming together to make sure that we protect jobs and growth.
If Peel agree, then in the short term the airport is secure. Attention then turns to what happens when the funding runs out. Doncaster Council and South Yorkshire's Mayor say they're also working with potential new investors. They say there is strong market interest in DSA, and there's one consortium who they believe are an extremely serious proposition to take over the airport. But both the Mayor and the Council admit the whole process does not come without a significant amount of risk. The airport employs 800 people, and unions have held rallies over the summer saying its demise would be the biggest economic blow to South Yorkshire since the pit closures of the 80s and 90s. And businesses in Doncaster fear it would limit their growth opportunities. Troftech make components for the rail industry, exporting products to a growing international market.
Doncaster Airport isn't just about getting people to a beach, it's about getting business people onto international travel, it's about getting our investors. It would be a massive shame to lose such a critical piece of infrastructure built for purpose to something else, be it housing development or whatever it may be. It would be a massive blow to the region and a massive waste of a really unique facility, in my opinion.
Tonight, Peel say they've received the proposal and it'll be carefully considered over the weekend with a full statement on Monday. The local MP has urged them to take up the financial offer.
It would show great corporate responsibility and respect for the people of Doncaster and South Yorkshire if Peel accepted the Combined Authorities offer and worked with a consortium to save the airport.
The airport's survival looks within grasp. Short-term financial support from public bodies. The question now, will Peel accept it? Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Doncaster.
Next tonight, police are questioning a second teenage boy in connection with the murder of 16-year-old Kyrie McLean outside a school in Huddersfield. The 15-year-old was arrested this morning. A 16-year-old boy who was arrested yesterday remains in custody. Police have been carrying out searches in the Fartown area. And Beth Parsons is there for us now. Beth, what's the latest?
It's been an intense day of police activity here today with the announcement of a second arrest and a lot of police searches as well. It follows the death of Kyrie McLean on Wednesday this week. The 15-year-old left the school gates behind me and moments later he was stabbed just round the corner of where we are today. Now, Kyrie was taken to Leeds General Infirmary by emergency services but sadly died shortly afterwards. Multiple search teams, including underwater search teams, have been here today, largely focused focused on a footpath that's currently closed to the public just off Woodhouse Hill, a few moments away. Now today, West Yorkshire Police announced they have arrested a second person in connection with the incident, a 15-year-old male. That's on top of a 16-year-old male who was also arrested yesterday. Both of them are currently in custody. Now police are continuing inquiries and they've asked anybody with video footage to submit it to a dedicated online portal. Tributes have continued to arrive today. There are candles, there are messages and there are flowers and things that clearly remind people of Kyrie. Now, one message read, "You had a beautiful future ahead of you, but life was taken away at such a young age." I spoke to Kyrie's girlfriend, Shiannon, earlier today. She didn't want to be interviewed, but she said that he was a sweet guy and that she loved him. Now, North Huddersfield Trust School was open today and there was a police presence at the gates as concerned parents arrived to collect their children. The school updated their website today and head teacher Andrew Fell said, "Our deepest sympathies go out to the pupils' family and friends who must feel, as we do, completely devastated. They've lost a loved one and we have lost a wonderful student from our school community."
Beth, thank you very much. Now, the Chancellor has announced huge changes to the country's finances today. It was called a mini-budget, but it was the biggest tax-cutting event in half a century. The basic rate of income tax has been cut to 19 pence and the 45% top rate of tax for higher earners will be abolished. An increase in national insurance has been reversed, along with the planned rise in corporation tax. The threshold before stamp duty is paid has been increased to £250,000 and the cap on bankers' bonuses has been lifted. Low-tax investment zones will be set up across the UK with parts of West, South and North Yorkshire all in the running. The government says some infrastructure schemes will be fast-tracked, including West Yorkshire Mass Transit, Northern Powerhouse Rail and Supertram renewal. And all this as the government pledges more than £100 billion to help homeowners and businesses with their energy bills. So what do voters make of it? Well, we've been to Halifax, where bankers' bonuses became big news in the financial crash, to gauge reaction.
It looks like it's a massive gamble. It's the biggest tax cuts in 50 years. I don't know if now's the right time to take massive gambles.
Any view on cutting the top rate of tax altogether?
I think it affects 650,000 people, so it's a bit like, again, it looks like it's something they're doing for the privileged.
Well, again, it's helping the rich to be richer and the poor to be poor. It doesn't really help the poor people. Wait until April's no good. What about Christmas and everything in between? It's not going to benefit them.
Everybody gets a 1% tax cut, something. Is that better than nothing?
Well, not for somebody who's only on a low wage, because 1% of nothing is nothing. Well, 1% when you earn a lot of money, it makes a difference.
But what about people like us who are on pensions? We still have to pay tax on our pensions. Why not give the pensions a break? Remove tax for pensions.
I disagree with borrowing a lot more money when we're already in debt as it is. So we'll see how it goes.
Everyone gets a 1% cut in taxes, so it's a few hundred quid for most people.
Yeah, but it's not till next year. So it's what's happening now, not next year.
Yeah, differing opinions there. Well, our political editor, James Vincent, is here for us now. James, what's in it for Yorkshire?
Well, it's always the question, isn't it, Amanda? Lots of mentions of Yorkshire, nothing concrete. Obviously, there's the mentions of those schemes like Northern Powerhouse Rail and Supertram, but no concrete answers about how they're going to be sped up. The thing that maybe will be of most interest to businesses is these investment zones, and each council in our part of the world will get the chance to bid for an investment zone. They are basically parts of town that will be sectioned off, as it were, from different parts of taxes and laws, and it will be easier for businesses to invest. And the Conservatives say that is one of the ways that they can drive growth in different areas. This is what the Levelling Up Minister told us earlier.
Clearly, investment zones are something which have the potential to support regional economies. We've had great discussions with both the West and South Yorkshire mayoralties and with local authorities in the wider region about how we can take forward exciting propositions.
What about the budget generally? What are people saying?
Well, it's a huge gamble, really. The government is new. Obviously, they know that there's an energy crisis, and they also know there's a general election in a couple of years' time. What they're doing today is a gamble because those tax cuts, when you cut tax for everybody, what's happening is people who are richer are going to get more pounds in their pocket back. So it looks like they might be helping richer people more than people on lower incomes. Now, the government's argument on that is that if you help people across the economy grows, and then everybody is helped by a growing economy. The gamble that they're taking, though, is that if people see it as a budget that is helping richer people rather than poorer people, people might not like that ahead of a general election. But if the government's plan does work and it does help the economy, how long will it take? How long will it take to work? And will people be still talking about this at the general election in 2 years' time? Here's what Labour said about it.
Giving tens of thousands of pounds to some of the richest people in the country, whilst people on low and modest incomes are struggling with the cost of living crisis, it's the wrong priority. It's not what Labour would be doing. It adds more money to government borrowing and government debt, and it doesn't target those who most need additional support.
So loads of arguments about that. More arguments on Politics North on Sunday morning.
We will be watching. James, thank you very much. So let's get more reaction now. Tom Ingle has been to speak to a business owner and a mum of 5 in South Yorkshire.
A tale of 2 South Yorkshires, but one common threat: rising costs.
Hello, my name's Danielle D'Souza. I'm 38 years old and I'm a single parent with 5 children. I receive universal credit, so all my outgoings are like my rent, my council tax, water rates, gas and electric, car insurance, car tax, food.
Danielle volunteers at a Sheffield community centre, but her childcare commitments mean she doesn't work, so every penny in her pocket really matters.
I don't really have any disposable income. What comes in each month, I have to sit down every month. When I know that the money's coming in, I have to sit down and I have to work it out, pound for pound.
She welcomes the government intervention on energy prices, but it only goes so far.
£66 a month isn't that much. When I look at my electricity bill for the summer months, is about £60 just for the summer months. So I'd hate to think what my electricity bill for the winter is going to be like.
I'm John Foster and I'm the Managing Director of Foster's Bakery in Barnsley.
Bills are on John's mind too.
We're looking at £190,000 extra on top of the bill, which is a massive amount, huge amount for us on electricity alone.
Again, the government have intervened to help on costs.
It doesn't cover the whole of it, and certainly doesn't cover the on costs on things like wheat and other raw materials that are also energy, shall we say, thirsty, and they're going up with massive amounts as well.
Every overhead is being squeezed. Foster's has raised wages to help staff. Price rises for customers are inevitable. Today's announcement about scrapping a corporation tax rise has underwhelmed.
I couldn't care less about corporation tax. To be quite honest, we like paying it because it means we are making profit. The problem's going to be making the profit on which to pay the corporation tax. If there's no profit, there's no tax.
The amount of bread in pocket or how much you can make in the oven, it's all about cost. The budget has to deliver a lot to fire up change for Danielle and John. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North.
Yeah, so winners and losers as ever. Let's find out what this means for you. I'm joined now by Dr Alexander Jamalis from Sheffield Hallam University. It's the biggest tax-cutting budget for 50 years, but who's benefiting?
Clearly the wealthier. This budget is really trying hard to benefit the wealthier, the wealthiest in our society. Let me just give you a few numbers, if I may. If you're earning £20,000, relatively low income these days, you will be benefiting by about £261. Whereas if you're earning £50,000, you will be benefiting £760. You're earning £200,000, you're benefiting by £4,500.
Yeah, quite a difference, isn't it?
Amazing numbers, yeah.
Absolutely. We do have a graphic that we can take a look at now for these numbers to take a look at. When we look at tax reductions, the move is going to affect those on higher incomes, basically, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is the whole idea behind the budget, to boost investment. It is a gamble to preserve consumption and boost investment, mostly from the wealthier people.
Yeah, and any benefits from these lower taxes will be swallowed up by higher energy bills, won't they?
Absolutely, absolutely. Maybe we will be saving a few £100, a few £100 every year, but we will be spending close to £1,000, if not more, on the energy bill. If I may add at this point, we will also be paying much, much more on our mortgages. Interest rates have been going up due to the Bank of England's push up to fight inflation. So they have been going up, and if they reach about 7%, the average household will be paying an extra £7,000.
That is a lot,
That's
isn't it?
a lot of money.
Now, we have some questions from our viewers as ever. Sue has emailed in and she asks, please could you tell us what's in the budget for pensioners?
Very little, I have to say. I'm really sorry to say that, Sue, there is very little. The Chancellor will be trying to spin that by saying that, look, you will be benefiting from the income tax, you will be benefiting from the cap on the energy prices, and after all, you probably don't have that much of a big pension. Pensioners have generally lower pensions, if at all. So they will be trying to spin it that way. But the bottom line is that there is very little support for pensioners in this budget.
Janet, she asks, who are we borrowing these large amounts of money from?
That's a question that my students ask me quite a bit. And the next question is, they ask is, can we not pay then? They're trying to be tricky.
Yeah.
So we mostly borrow from pension funds from within the UK. We borrow from banks from within the UK, and we borrow from households as well. So everyone can go to the Bank of England site and they can buy UK government debt if they want to. So not paying that money back is not an option, because we will be ending up with no pensions, basically, and collapsed banks.
And finally, what about low-income families? Many charities say benefits should be raised in line with inflation. What about people like that?
I full-heartedly believe that. I think this is something very, very unfair is happening these days to the lower-income families. We have to keep in mind that inflation for the low-income families is more than 10% than it is on average for the economy. Inflation is about 15 to 16% for low-income families, and there is very little support for these families, and I suspect this will come back and bite the government at some point.
Thank you very much. We'll have to leave it there. Thanks for bringing us up to date. You're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. Leeds Rhinos get ready to face St Helens in the Super League Grand Final. Now, there are 100 days to go until the start of Leeds 2023, a long year of celebration and culture in the city. The countdown kicked off today and people came together in Leeds to hear what experiences will be coming up to the city. The first event is set to take place on the 7th of January next year, and organisers are hoping everyone will get involved.
Leeds 2023 is our year of culture. We're delivering a whole extraordinary 365 days of cultural activity and events. Our opening event is called The Awakening, and it'll be the best of Leeds, past and present, showcasing through words and music the sort of spirit of Leeds and who we are and telling our story. I'm hoping that everybody will embrace our year of culture and celebrate it in true style.
Looks great, doesn't it? Now let's turn to Super League, because if there's one match not to miss this weekend, it's the grand final at Old Trafford on Saturday night. Leeds Rhinos are in it for the first time since 2017. Defending champions St Helens stand in their way. Paul Lugden looks ahead.
In keeping with Super League's annual grand final weekend tradition, predictably soggy Manchester weather at Old Trafford, just in time for Leeds Rhinos against St Helens. Otherwise, though, the home of Manchester United looks different to the norm, with its H-shaped posts and one-night-only branding. The so-called Theatre of Dreams will be quite a sight, with an expected 70,000 crowd of rugby league fanatics inside.
Even just to be here today at an Old Trafford, looking round, empty seats, nobody here, nobody playing on the pitch, that's an experience in itself. That's something I'll always remember. It's an experience that not a lot of people will get to do. Every little thing that I see or I do, or we have a laugh about, just try to remember it and take it all in my stride and try to enjoy it all, really.
Enter Rowan Smith, son of ex-Bradford Bulls coach Brian Smith and nephew of Tony, once of Huddersfield and Leeds and now at Hull FC. This Smith is just as crafty a coach as they are, clearly. Rowan has transformed the Rhinos into potential champions if they can beat Saints tomorrow night.
Gives you goosebumps to walk into an amazing place like this.
some of the best that have ever played their sport have graced the turf. So to be here is a privilege.
To get to where we've got to, it's just all been worth it. It's just all been worth it. All them dark days, and we're doing in pre-season, and we were all them video sessions. We were spending hours watching video of how rubbish we'd been, and we're like, and it'll just all be worth it.
The Sheffield Sharks start their British Basketball League season tonight against the London Lions. The Sharks will be hoping to make up for frustrations last season when they finished in second place in the BBL Championship but crashed out of the playoffs in the first round.
Well, this early in the season, it's not too much you can do other than, you put your game plan together and of how you want to play this season, and, you go up against the best and see how you fare. I think we have a strong team, and we're excited to kind of go out there and test against what is supposed to be the best.
And look out tomorrow for some hard-hitting Yorkshire boxers at Nottingham's Big Fight Night. There's a South Yorkshire derby when Rossington's Maxie Hughes defends his world lightweight title against Sheffield's Kid Galahad. And before that, Dennerby fighter Terry Harper is the challenger, jumping up 4 weight divisions to take on Scotland's Hannah Rankin. All to play for. Now, it's a perfect evening for the start of York's Balloon Fiesta. Weather permitting, the 3-day event will see around 50 hot air balloons take to the skies. Ian White has spent the afternoon on the Knavesmire.
Amanda, would you like to fly my beautiful balloon? I bet you would. And just look at these. Aren't they real beauties? Taking shape now as we speak on this glorious evening in September in York, and I have to say this really is a party atmosphere as well. Let's talk to a couple of people involved in this weekend festival. First of all, let me talk to John. You're the organiser. This is a big event.
Yes, as you can see, last year we had 60,000 people and we're expecting near that again this year, so hopefully everybody enjoys themselves.
And people can come along, it's easy to come along?
They can come along, buy online at £8, save money, or pay £10 on the gate. We've got all sorts planned for the weekend. Andy and the Old Yorkshire Landers, Big Jam, Doug here as the characters for the small kids. We've got children's entertainment on the stage. We've got Scout for Girls tonight, Craig Charles tomorrow. We've got Gabrielle Eversmall. So it's an amazing weekend for all the family.
Not a bad lineup at all. Now let me talk to Ollie, because you know more about these than we do. Why do people love balloons so much?
I don't know. I guess it's because you don't really get to see them up close like this usually, do you? So and the sheer size of them, I think the crowd, when you finally see a balloon, they're like giants, aren't they, breathing fire, and I think people absolutely just love it. They seem to flock to it. So yeah.
I know some people, including John here, and probably me too, are a bit scared about heights and going up that high. What's it like to be inside one of those baskets?
Oh, it's totally calming. If you're scared of heights, it's not a problem, because as long as you look at the horizon, it's like you stood on a hill. And we only fly in very calm conditions, so it's like you're just floating along really gently, and it's a very calming experience. Yeah.
Can I let you into a secret?
Yes.
I've worked for the BBC for 29 years, and you're the last ever person I'm going to interview on the BBC. Because I'm leaving.
You're joking?
I'm not, so you have the honour of being my last interviewee.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, and good luck in whatever you choose to do going forward.
Thank you very much. So there we are, Amanda, an emotional night.
Oh, Ian, and we are absolutely gutted. That is officially a wrap for our lovely colleague Ian White, who after 29 years, no less, at the BBC, is sadly leaving us. Well, over the years, Ian has reported on a huge variety of stories, often leading the programme, as well as clocking up hundreds of hours on the studio floor. But he has also made us laugh a lot with the lighter stories. Here's just a few that made us smile.
High on a hill was a lonely...
Now, little Benjamin is only 5 weeks old, and he's so cute, but within 6 months he could have grown to the size of a Labrador, and it's thought he could possibly live to be 20 years old. Oh, that would be great. Do you think I might be an award winner one day?
Yes.
Oh! And here at the museum, they've recreated a 1970s house, complete with living room, bedroom, garden, and even the kitchen.
The light is now with Snow White.
Thank you very much.
Ian, you played absolutely magic.
Ian, sorry everyone. I think you've got a bear behind.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Pardon, Owen. Thank you very much. Sooty! Oh, what's that? Oh, Kathy Booth has got this report. Turned out nice again. Ian White, BBC Look North, York. Do have a very good evening. Bye-bye.